Hello folks, here we are again for the monthly forecast. So let's speak about the month of April today. Now April feels easier and somehow a bit smoother than March. The Rahu-Mars conjunction is fading quickly, and of course we have a wonderful Jupiter transit to look forward to. Yeah, so let's get into this. Now, the month starts with the movement of Mercury, which has just moved into Pisces, joining Venus and the Sun. Mercury will remain somewhat weak till around April the 5th. And then eventually it moves out of its debilitated state on April the 16th. But the first few days, it will, despite being debilitated, it's going to feel weak. So watch communications and things like that. This impacts the Sun and Venus as well, because they're transiting Mercury's nakshatra of Revati. So an already seriously combust Venus may be further compromised in the first few days of April as well. So I suppose communications, especially in matters of money and things like that, finances. It could signal some losses here and some changes. Now, because Venus also signifies relationships, then perhaps that area might get impacted. But to get a much more clearer picture of that, you have to see what Venus's lordship is for you. Yeah, and that area would perhaps be affected. Adding to that, Venus being combust by the Sun, every time that happens, we could be faced with challenges in relationships where we learn to balance our individual needs with the collective goals. April the 10th, Venus goes into the sign of Aries and is much stronger there. It's also in a Parivartan with Mars at this time, who is transiting Venus, a sign of Taurus, boosting both of their strength at that time. By April the 18th, Venus starts to move out of the combust state, making it much more functional and bringing a positive shift for relationship and money matters. Of course, the biggest news this month is Jupiter moving into Aquarius on April the 5th. Now, Jupiter moving into Aquarius means that it will aspect Leo, Gemini, and Libra, and these signs will see an instant boost with Jupiter's expansive energy. So whatever they signify in your chart, these areas will get the positive glare of Jupiter for the next several months. Yeah. Jupiter also will continue to connect with Mars as it transits through the nakshatra of Dhanishta. So see what Mars signifies in your chart and keep an eye on its transit, because they're connected. When Mars moves into Gemini, it will be an excellent position to give positive results, as not only will it receive the glare of Jupiter, but it will also connect with Jupiter through nakshatra, right? Because Dhanishta's controlling planet is Mars. And this connection will get stronger as Mars goes into Punarvasu in mid-May, and is then in a Sukshma Parivartan Yoga with Jupiter, because Mars being in Punarvasu, which is the controlling planet, is Jupiter, and Jupiter is going through the transit through Dhanishta, and the controlling planet is Mars. So we've got a Parivartan happening there. And that means positive energy. Here we're talking about very masculine energy. So excellent time to put plans into action. And I've actually spoken about the Jupiter transit. I'll put the link below for you to get a better idea of what is happening. Yeah. Now, one other thing to mention is, and this is actually something that I have perhaps mentioned in the Saturn video. Those going through a Saturn dasha can also be positively impacted here. Because when Jupiter moves through Aquarius, it's actually moving through Saturn's Multrikon sign, right? Specifically within Aquarius, the 0 to 20 degree mark is Saturn's Multrikon. zone. Yeah, that's where it gets the Mul Dragon status, and that's the energy. So Jupiter transiting there means that people who are going through the Saturn Dasha or Antardasha will be indirectly and positively impacted by that Jupiter's transit through the Mul Dragon. Yeah. Now we have a new moon in Pisces in the nakshatra of Revati on April the 12th. It's at 28 degrees of Revati in the sign of Pisces in the early morning hours of April the 12th. Mercury is the controlling planet here, situated very close to the new moon. And Jupiter is the ruling planet of Pisces, which is 12th from this new moon, situated in Aquarius. And we have Saturn from Capricorn sending an aspect to this new moon. So it can indicate some slow progress here and endings for some people. If you started something new, go slow at this time, I would say. And when Mercury moves into Aries mid-month, we can see some progress. Yeah. So any new projects that you've started, work, or even relationships are going to be positively impacted by that movement of Mercury into Aries. The following day, on April the 13th, Mars moves into Gemini and away from Rahu. So this breaks the Galsarp Yoga, which is good news for everyone. Normally Gemini is not the best place for Mars, but here we have many exceptions. Mars is getting a very close aspect of a strongly placed Jupiter. Jupiter is connecting with Mars vis-a-vis nakshatra, as we talked about. So essentially we can understand Jupiter's results for us from this transit of Mars. So for example, if you are a Leo Lagna, Jupiter is transiting your 7th house. And it's connecting to your Yogark Mars, which is your 4th and 9th lord, in your 11th house. So this is a fantastic transit for Leos, particularly in areas to do with gains, any sort of gains, putting long cherished goals into action. This would be a fantastic time to do that. And also great for own businesses, partnerships, travel during these few weeks. Yeah. And then finally Mercury, which is ruler of Gemini, moves out of debility. April 16th, allowing Mars to function in full capacity, as here we will also have a Parivartan between Mars and Mercury. Yeah, so giving each other a boost. So again, excellent time to put plans into action, especially pertaining to communications, writing, online businesses, any kind of media projects. Fantastic time for that. Now the same day that Mars shifts into Gemini, the Sun moves into its exalted sign of Aries, where it will transit from April the 13th till May the 14th. This of course is a welcome transit for the Sun as it comes out of the glare of Saturn. Yeah. And for the entire transit, it will share this space with benefics such as Mercury, Venus, and Moon. Overall, it's an excellent transit for the Sun, and it gets better as it travels here alone from May the 3rd onward. Now we have a full moon happening in Libra in the nakshatra of Swati on April the 27th. So the full moon slips into fullness at 12 degrees of Libra, opposite Sun at 12 degrees of Aries in the early morning hours of April the 27th. This moon is getting aspected by 3 benefics: Venus, Mercury, and Jupiter. As well, it's getting an aspect of Saturn too. Yeah. But overall, it's an excellent time for connecting with others. It gives all relationships a boost. This can also be a fated time to meet someone new, perhaps. Whomsoever you meet at this time will be in your life for a very long time. This is especially the case for those who have personal planets in Aries, Libra, or Gemini. Swati connects with Rahu here, and again Rahu is transiting Venus's sign of Taurus. So here again signifies relationships, yeah? Also excellent time for money matters and new beginnings in either career or relationships for everyone. This full moon connects with the nodes, which are very strongly placed in Taurus and Scorpio, because we're talking about Swati here, right? Connecting with Rahu. Swati is in fact very strong for any matters related to business, socializing, relationships that add value to our lives. because its strength lies in dispersing and scattering, things can happen very quickly. And you actually may be faced with many options this month. If you have any sort of pranayama practice, this will help you focus and be more decisive. Because Swati's energy can only really be contained through sort of a like breath work, because we're talking about an air sign connecting with Rahu. The Rahu is the controlling planet, and that is what, in fact, Swati signifies. It's basically the wind. So it has that. It can bring that very indecisive quality into the picture. So this, I would say, is a much easier month than what we experienced in March, and it gets better and better as we move through it. Yeah. So that's all for now, folks. Cheers. All the best.